Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here to give you guys my Marquee matches reviews, and in this episode, I'm going to be reviewing from TLC, which stands for Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, 2015. It's a tables match. It's Team Extreme versus the Wyatt family, and this episode is hosted by Charlie Caruso. And I guess we'll talk about the feud going into this. So pretty much the feud was the Wyatt family would continuously attack the Dudley Boys because the Dudley Boys had just returned to WWE in 2015, and they tried to go for the tag titles, but that didn't work. So then eventually they started this feud with the Wyatt family, and the Wyatt family would, continuously outnumber the Dudley Boys. So the Dudley Boys wanted to put each and every one of the members of the Wyatt family through a table. They would have tables written out with each of the members of the Wyatt family's name on it, and eventually they did seek help. First, they sought help from one of the old ECW running mates, Tommy Dreamer, and he came back to the company and obviously helped even the odds somewhat, but they didn't, quite even the odds. So who did they recruit? Their other ECW running buddy, Rhino, and Rhino had been back for the company for a few months. He had been working NXT shows, and he officially was brought back up to the main roster to do this run. And I thought Rhino honestly was having one of the best runs of his career at this time. So the match pretty much was said it was a 8-man tag team tables elimination match, and that was pretty much that. Yeah, really not like much to talk about as in terms of a feud, but I really that was kind of the main purpose of the feud. So yeah, I mean, this is when too they bought the Wyatt family back in their second reincarnation, because they stupidly had split them up in 2014, which I thought was an absolutely stupid decision at the time, and considering that they just put them back together like about a year or so later, it pretty much confirmed that was a stupid decision. And I'm going to obviously talk about the match itself. Ironically enough, TLC was being held in TD Garden. I remember I didn't go because typically around December it's usually a pretty busy time anyways, because it's finals time, and usually for some odd reason TLC or just the December pay-per-view always falls right before finals, because obviously they want to get it out of the way, because they don't want the Christmas time is usually, or just the holidays is typically very close, so they know that not a lot of people are going to be invested in wrestling, so wrestling kind of goes into like a lame duck period. But I also didn't go because, so that's one of the reasons I didn't go. But I also didn't go because I was going to WrestleMania 32, and I figured that wouldn't really be a smart thing to go to TLC and spend my money on that if I was, and just save my money on WrestleMania 32, a better show, well, what should have been a better show. I mean, I know a lot of people crap on that WrestleMania, but since I was there, I don't really crap on it. It's my first WrestleMania. It's just a hell of an experience. You're not really going to crap on your first WrestleMania. I would like to go again someday, but I thought it was going to be this year, but it's not going to happen. But let's talk about the match itself. And this is a fun match to go back and watch, especially because it's just absolute chaos the whole time. So I like it for that reason. You have the Team Extreme, which I never really liked that they used the Team Extreme name, because that name had already been used in WWE, and they just use it on here. I wish they had just kind of called them just Team ECW, because that's kind of really what it was. It was ECW together, but whatever. Pretty much immediately they bring out the weapons, because that's what, you're not going to have a tables match with the original, with like the ECW originals without the weapons. So they brought out trash cans, a nightstick, a 2x4, and they would use those weapons on the Wyatts, and pretty much that was kind of the beginning portion of this match. Was Team Extreme completely dominating this match. Braun Strowman did at one point like take out all members of Team Extreme simultaneously. They even hit him. He even hit one of them with I believe it was Bubba Ray Dudley with a trash can right across the back. And watching this match, you forget how bad Braun Strowman is because of his popularity today and how much he's improved. I remember I hated Braun Strowman in 2015. I think we voted him the worst wrestler of 2015 because he was just awful around this time. And it's just kind of funny, like, how much he's improved today. You know, when Braun Strowman's dominated, eventually Team Extreme all come out and hit him with weapons, and because he accidentally kicked his foot through the table, but I guess it didn't count because you have to be put through a table, which I guess makes sense. And eventually Eric Rowan tried to go off the top, but Devon Dudley pushed him off, and eventually the Dudleys... Actually, the table accidentally broke that had Rowan's name written on it. I don't think that was supposed to happen. So they just had to get a new table, and the Dudleys hit the 3D on Eric Rowan through the table, and since it was an elimination match, Eric Rowan was out. And then the match continued into chaos. Eventually, Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper get the heat on Rhino, and they really dominate him. They hit a really cool Michinoku driver, senton combination, which I actually thought that was pretty cool. And Rhino mounts a little bit of a comeback, but then eventually get the numbers. Because of the numbers game, Luke Harper ends up hitting a big boot on Rhino through the table, eliminating him. And throughout this match, you could definitely see that WWE was hiding Braun Strowman's weaknesses because he really didn't. He really wasn't featured all that much in this match. They would, you know, do attacks on him where Tommy Dreamer would like lay him out with a stop sign and stuff, but you could kind of see they weren't featuring Strowman all that much in this match. He was just kind of there to look big, because Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper do pretty much all the spots and stuff in this match. But eventually, Tommy Dreamer and Bubba Ray Dudley all grab well, actually, no, that's not what happens next. The Dudleys attack Braun Strowman on the outside. They lay him out. They actually, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. Bubba Ray Dudley was going off on Luke Harper, and then eventually what happens is Bray Wyatt, when Devon Dudley is setting up a table, Bray Wyatt hits the Uranagi through the table on Devon Dudley, eliminating him, and then the Wyatts dominates Bubba Ray Dudley for a while, but then Tommy Dreamer and Bubba Ray Dudley even out the odds with kendo sticks. Bray Wyatt actually tried to hit his sister Abigail and Bubba Ray Dudley, but he hits him with a kendo stick, which I thought was a nice spot. And he hits a wicked Uranagi onto Bray Wyatt, and then they attack Braun Strowman. They bury him through with a bunch of tables. Tommy Dreamer actually pulled out a cheese grater and grinded Braun Strowman's balls, which was pretty cool. And then eventually, though, Luke Harper ends up hitting a wicked discus lariat onto Devon Dudley, and then he hits a Tommy Dreamer, and then he hits a suicide dive, which causes Tommy Dreamer to go through the table and eliminate him. And then Bubba Ray Dudley is pretty much left in a 3-on-1 situation. He does the best he can to fight them off. He grabs lighter fluid and teases like he's going to set one of the tables on fire, but Luke Harper comes in and hits a super kick on him, which allows Strowman to come in and to chokeslam Bubba Ray Dudley to the table, and the Wyatt family win the tables match. Now, one obviously rant I have is about the finish. I really, I like the finish obviously anyways, but the reason I don't like the finish is because they pretty much teased like they were going to set something on fire with the table, and typically you don't typically tease that you're going to do a fire spot if you're not going to do it. That's just personally what I think. He should have just tried to put somebody through a table versus teasing a fire spot, because if you're not going to do a fire spot, it gets the crowd's hopes up, and It's just really stupid. I thought that was a pretty stupid part of the match. Another pretty stupid part of this match was they didn't just have the Wyatts all just win the match without an elimination. I get Eric Rowan was kind of, the job guy of the Wyatt family, but it would have made more sense to have, Eric Rowan be in the match as well and have each of the members of the Wyatt family get an elimination. So that way the group would have looked really strong, but they still looked pretty strong. But I'm just saying, I think they should have just pitched a shutout. And obviously this made sense for the Wyatt family to win because, Team Extreme should be putting over the Wyatt family anyways. That's kind of the point. The Dudleys were the veterans, and Tommy Dreamer's the veteran, and Rhino's the veteran. They should be there, put it over the Wyatt families. The Wyatt families definitely needed to win a lot more. They had a lot of big losses and stuff, so it made sense for the Wyatt family to go over, and I thought they put them over in a pretty strong way by having, having 3 of the 4 members of the Wyatt family outlast everybody. So I thought that made sense. Fortunately, though, this feud really didn't do much for the Wyatts because they would just kind of be in the same position. Anyways, after this feud, obviously they would have one more match with each other where the Wyatt family would win again. And then, which I think the match on Raw they had the next night, I remember, was better than this match. Because this match, I gotta do my star rating for it. It is pretty good. It is a fun match to watch. I'm gonna give this match 3 1/4. What kind of hurts the match is the finish, and obviously the fact that Eric Rowan gets eliminated, and just seeing how bad Braun Strowman used to be, how bad his selling was, how bad his moveset was, and just how clumsy he was when he was wrestling. Like, really reminds you how leaps and bounds Braun Strowman's improved. But obviously the aftermath, the Dudleys would shortly be, would turn heel right before WrestleMania 32, and they would have their final run in WWE. They would leave the night after SummerSlam in 2016, and then Devon Dudley is an agent backstage now, and they obviously would go into the Hall of Fame after this. Bubba Ray Dudley is actually still wrestling to this day. He works the indies. He was in ROH for a bit. He had a short run there. So, definitely interesting that Bubba Ray Dudley's still wrestling today. And he's a Hall of Famer in WWE. Tommy Dreamer is still wrestling today, which is kind of crazy because of all the extreme stuff that Tommy Dreamer's done in his career. But, he runs his own promotion, House of Hardcore, but he's also still wrestling with TNA/Impact Wrestling, which I don't really understand why he is. It's just beating a dead horse at that point. And then you have Rhino, who's still in the company. He would take a short break, but then came back in 2016, and now is in the tag team division. They're really not doing anything with him, which, I get he wasn't like a top guy or anything, but they should still kind of utilize him. If they're not going to utilize him on the main roster, at least put him back in NXT, because I think that's just a better utilization for him. He can help the young guys. Then you have the Wyatt family, which they broke up again, I think, mainly because of the drafts. And then they had another reincarnation where Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt would be together. And then obviously Luke Harper went face and became the hottest thing in the company until the WWE squandered his momentum. Eric Rowan came back because he was hurt. And they had a feud where Luke Harper won, and then they were off TV, and then they became the Bludgeon Brothers together. And they were a dominant tag team, won the SmackDown tag team titles, and now Rowan's hurt again. Both Rowan and Harper are hurt, so now they're just Rowan and Harper now. They're not Luke Harper and Eric Rowan anymore. Bray Wyatt pretty much went on to become completely irrelevant, where he would just lose every feud he's in. He would just cut these promos that didn't make any sense, to the point that they've damaged his character so much that they've taken him off TV, and he still hasn't come back. He hasn't wrestled a match, since the Starrcade show, but he hasn't been on TV, I think, since just the Go Home edition of SummerSlam in 2018. It's been that long since Bray Wyatt's been off TV. It's been much too long. Braun Strowman's in the best spot of the company, and no one would have thought that. Like I talked about, how much improvement Braun Strowman's had in WWE. He's much better now. He's probably the most over baby face in the company, and it really is a shame that they dropped the ball with him, with obviously his goofy feuds, him failing his Money in the Bank cash and not winning the WWE Universal Championship. him getting injured and stuff. So hopefully, I mean, I don't think he's going to be the guy. I think he's just going to be a guy. But yeah, overall though, like if you kind of think about like no one really benefited coming out of this match, because pretty much the Wyatts were just done. The best person that's in the spot is the guy that sucked the worst in this match, and that was Braun Strowman. So, I mean, no one really expected Team Extreme to really be anywhere, considering the fact that they were the veterans, but you would have expected the young guys to be somewhere, and yeah, they're really not. I mean, the best person, like I said, is Braun Strowman. Like, Harper and Rowan are off TV, injured, and Bray Wyatt's off TV completely. So, yeah, pretty much nothing. But that's pretty much the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video so people will see it. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel for more content and click on the bell so that way every time I upload a video you guys will be notified about it. And make sure you guys do the same thing for my CM brothers and all the Talkinator channels. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.